What causes insomnia? And once you have it, how do you cure it? Hey, it's Coach Vukan, and in today's episode, I have 3 goals on our agenda. First of all, I want to talk about what causes insomnia as it relates to the last episode of our sleep series. That's right, the last episode. This is the grand finale. So we'll talk about what causes insomnia. Then, second thing on our agenda, I want to talk about how I cured my own insomnia. I'm gonna share with you something I've never shared before, and you can take it, you can copy paste it, and try it out for yourself to see how that might help your insomnia or your bad sleep if you have that right now. And third, at the end of this episode, I have a big surprise coming up, so stay tuned. Make sure you stay tuned to the end of the episode to find out what that is. So, let's get started. For today, let's see, how do we begin? Yes, before I forget, as I'm telling you today's story, I want you to listen closely because there are different things that causes bad sleep and insomnia. And as I'm telling today's story, I want you to listen closely and try and figure out which exact specific cause is causing bad sleep to our characters in today's story. You can guess what it is, so comment down below. Now, let's get started. For today's episode, we have... There we go. Now, I want you to imagine that you are sitting at your home, maybe in your kitchen, and you're talking with your dad. You're talking with your father about... You guys are sitting and chatting about how your job is going, how your business is going, or how your relationships, your friendships are going, just talking about normal stuff. And as you're talking and sharing, at one point your father looks at you and he tells you, son or daughter, look, you are a failure. You've always been a failure. You're failing right now, and those goals that you just mentioned me, that you want to do, that you want to accomplish, that dream, it's never gonna happen. You can just give up on it now because you're not gonna do it anyway. So how would that make you feel? How would you respond in a situation like that? That is some pretty heavy shit, right? Well, this is the exact situation that one of our characters, Julia, is going through right now. She is at her kitchen table, at her white kitchen table, sitting there having tea with her father, Richard. And right now, Richard, he's telling his daughter, Julia, that she has always been a failure, that she, with that business that she had just started, that we talked about a couple of episodes ago, her hair salon business that she had just opened on her birthday. Her father is telling her that she's gonna fail with that business, and those goals that she has for being a big hair stylist, she can just give up right now and go home. So why is Richard telling her daughter all these things? Is he some red evil monster? Is he some red evil horned devil from hell? Is that what's going on here? Well, not exactly. We met Richard back in episode 7, I believe. And real quick, Richard is a billionaire in the weapons industry. 20 years ago, he had some money problem. He was almost on the brink of going bankrupt, and that is when Oasis, the bringer of bad sleep, misery and despair, she came to Richard and she offered him a deal. She offered to save his business, to give him the money that he needed back then. But she told him that in return she's gonna come back 20 years later and ask Richard for a favor. Now, it's been 20 years later, and Oasis, that same morning she had come to Richard asking for her favor. And Richard, he thought, what is this woman gonna ask me? Maybe she's gonna ask me for $100 million to give her, or $1 billion, or maybe something with those weapons that I'm producing, with the shotguns and the snipers and the bombs. Maybe she wants to blow up a country, I don't know. But Oasis, the bringer of bad sleep, misery, and insomnia, she did not ask him for $1 billion. She did not ask him for snipers or bombs or atom bombs, nothing like that. What she asked him was much, much worse. She came to Richard and she asked him to have a conversation with his daughter that same day and tell his daughter that she has always been a failure, that she is failing right now, that she will never succeed. Why? Because Julia, back in episode 1 and 2, they kind of had a face-off, Julia and Oasis, and Julia beat Oasis. She got back to normal restful sleep, but Oasis, she told her she would be back and she would cause her to fall into bad sleep again. And that is exactly what's going on right now. Oasis, using Julia's father, is trying to push Julia back into bad sleep. And Richard, he did not want to do this. He did not want to say all these terrible things to her, to his daughter, but he was a man of his word. So right now he was telling his daughter that she is just gonna fail, when she should just close her hair salon business and not deal with that anymore. And he's feeling absolutely disgusted with himself. I want to ask you right now, actually, I'm curious, have you ever felt disgusted with something that you said or something that you did in your life? For example, I am very familiar with the feeling of disgust. I probably felt the most disgusted with myself when I had insomnia, actually. I still remember lying in bed after 24 hours of not sleeping. I was lying in bed. I had my laptop opened up on my knees. I was watching a show. I would be watching a show on Netflix or a movie. And on my phone, I would have that opened up also, playing some app game then, something very addictive like a clicking game. And then I was with my right hand, with my left hand, I would be stuffing bananas in my mouth as some weird pig. I looked like, for 3-4 days in a row, I would not shower. I would just roll around my own filth like some pink pig in a dark, muddy, green swamp. I felt and I looked like a pig. I was disgusted. I was absolutely disgusted with myself. And in my worst moments, when I was most disgusted with myself because I couldn't fall asleep, because I was sad and I was trying to make myself happy with movies and TV and food, I still wasn't doing that. That's when I went into a homeless shelter, and then I found out if I just focus on 3 simple things, if I just do 3 simple things every single day, I could get back to normal restful sleep. And I did. I cured my own insomnia, and today I'm sleeping well 7 nights a week, feeling refreshed and energized throughout my day. But that was it for me. It was in one of those lowest moments I felt absolutely disgusted with myself because I couldn't sleep. I was making myself feel good in all these bad ways. What about you? Have you ever had something that you felt disgusted with, that you did or that you said in your relationships or in your job or your business? Comment down below. I'm curious to know what that was for you. So, for Richard, the way he felt disgusted with himself, it was with what he had just done, with what he had just said. And this is not to one of his employees, this is something that he said to his own daughter, to the person he might love more than anyone else in the world. So tonight, Richard is going back to his penthouse, to the 34th floor of his penthouse. He is on his balcony looking down into the city at all the lights sparkling as diamonds, as big African diamonds right below him. And he is feeling disgusted as he goes to bed in the white duvet sheets of his big bed. Richard goes there and he's feeling so much. As he tries to go to sleep that night, Richard is he's thinking back to that day, to that conversation he had with Julia, and he has all these thoughts going through his mind about how he did it. Should he have done it, or should he have done something else? And as he's having all these negative thoughts, he's feeling even more and more disgusted with himself. He's feeling more and more hatred towards himself. And that night, Richard rolled around bed. He struggled and he did not fall asleep. Now, what about Julia? How did she sleep that night? Well, before we talk a little bit more about that, I want to talk about insomnia and what triggers. That was our original question, correct? What triggers insomnia, or what causes insomnia? And comment down below, what do you think causes Richard right now to not be able to fall asleep? What is the big underlying cause there? Well, it is this. Behind all that disgust and that self-hatred that is going through Richard, the main cause causing him not to sleep is stress. Stress is one of the biggest causes for insomnia. You can almost think of it like this. Let's see, can you see that well? I believe you can. So we have stress. I want you to imagine we have stress on the y-axis and night hours on the x-axis. The more stressed you are during the night, the more you increase your chances of falling into bad sleep. Now, the question, of course, becomes, what do we do about it? Because sometimes in our lives, things happen, shit happens that we cannot control. Like this stressful situation, Richard did not want it. Julia definitely did not want to be put through all that shit. So when something like that happens, especially close toward your bedtime, and you're still feeling that, what do you do? How do you solve that? Well, here's what I found. What you need to do is this. You need to grow your stress resilience muscle. Think of it like the princess and the pea. You remember that story? A princess lay down on a bed with 20 duvets on that bed, with 20 mattresses also. And the evil queen, she put one single green pea in the bed. And that woman, that princess, she rolled on in bed all night long and she could not fall asleep for a minute. just from one single green pea. Why? Because her stress resilience muscle, it was weak. She would not take a single green pea. But when your stress resilience muscle is strong, that's when you can sleep. That's what I found when I was sleeping in a homeless shelter with anywhere between 5, 10, sometimes 15 people. Some of them drunk, talking during the night, some of them being very snoring, singing in different cadences with their snores throughout the night, with different speeds and different volumes, some of them quite loud, by the way. And I found out if I just practice my stress resilience muscle, the more I do it, the more all these stresses that I had in the environment from all these people, they did not bother me, and I could fall asleep those nights. So you can think of it. I have one more graph. Is this? Here's what I realized through my insomnia and bad sleep journey. During the night, the more you increase your stress resilience muscle, the more you increase your chances of having a good night's sleep that night. That is it. That is the secret. And by the way, stress, I don't want you to think of it as a bad thing at all. Stress, yes, sometimes it can be a bad thing, like in this story, but it can be a very positive, a very good thing also, especially if you are someone who has dreams for yourself, if you have a big vision for yourself that you're going towards. As you go towards your vision, your dream castle in the sky, you will need to grow. And to grow, you need to what? Growth comes from stress. Stress we put on ourselves through the work we put in, through the lessons that we learn. We put on mental stress. When we grow our physical muscles also, we put physical stress on our body. So stress is essential for our growth, for your growth. And it is a very good thing. But obviously, when it comes to sleep, we want to be successful and to do the things that we want to do. We need to put stress on ourselves, but also build our stress resilience muscle so that we sleep well at night and we have all the energy that we need during the day. And if you want to learn more about how you can train your stress resilience muscle the same way that I did mine, well, I will leave some information down in the description so you can check that out for yourself. Now, let's finish up here. I have some exciting things coming up and I want to share them with you, so let me go real quick. Where are we right now? So here's where we are at. The big surprises. So next time, on November 22nd, I'm going to release episode 1 of Sleep Season 2. That is right. We just wrapped up Season 1 and Season 2 is coming up. And I have so many things prepared for you for that season. Before I go into depth about all the things I've prepared, I just want to mention, hey, you're already subscribed, so hit the notification bell. And if you're not already subscribed, just subscribe real quick and hit the notification bell so that you get notified as soon as I release, as soon as Season 1 comes up, so you don't miss all the excitement. And here's what's gonna be happening there. Here are some of the things you're gonna learn in Season 2. First of all, we're gonna learn about what happens to Harry, the man we just met last episode, episode 9, who, as you might remember, he fell into sleep debt. Fell into sleep debt and is now only sleeping 3 hours a night. Is Harry going to repay his sleep debt? Is he going to go back to normal restful sleep? What's going to happen there? That's what we're going to find out. Second, what happens to Aaron, the man who Oasis is putting through a Chinese water tap torture and is causing him bad sleep as a result? What's going to happen to him? Is he also going to fall into insomnia? Or is he going to fight back? That Batman of cybersecurity, what's going to happen there? 3, what happens to Ron, our apple pie businessman who defeated Oasis, the bringer of bad sleep and insomnia, and who is now sleeping well? Is Oasis just gonna let that slide? Or is she gonna come back and, just as she's putting Julia to bad sleep right now and Richard, is she gonna come back after Ron? Well, tune in to find out. That's gonna be interesting. Fourth, we have new characters. We're gonna find out what happens to Somnus, and I don't want to reveal it yet, but we're gonna find Somnus, the king of sleep, the man who is facing off against Oasis. We're gonna find him on a death bed next episode. We're gonna meet his sons also, Dream, Morpheus, and Nightmare, Phobos, in our next season. And if all that's not enough, we're also gonna find out what happens with Julia, what happens to Julia, and what happens to her dad Richard. What happens with their relationship there? Is it gonna be broken? And how are they gonna sleep? Is Oasis gonna push both daughter and father through bad sleep? Tune in on November 22nd to find out. So, a lot of things coming up, my friend. We're gonna have a lot of fun here. So, thank you again for hanging out with me, and I'll see you very, very soon. Sleep well.